Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to begin lesson 6.10. So when you log into your ConnectEd screen, you should see this page. We are going to click on Go to Lesson 6.10. So if you could click on that. And you should also have a notebook and a pencil right next to you so that you can work out the problems. If you're not working on the computer right now, you can use your notebook. And remember that you can pause this video at any time if you need to pause, work on your problem, and then you can press play and rewind as many times as you need to. So we're going to click on lesson 6.10. And we're going to begin here. We're going to actually go in and click on Mental Math and Fluency. And we're just going to take a minute to just review what we had done before we had left. The last lesson that we had done was on parentheses. So if you remember, when we were working on parentheses, we learned that when there are parentheses in an equation, we always solve inside of here first. So let's do a quick practice problem. So you can do this right on the screen with me, or you can work in your notebook. So here's the equation we're going to write. 13 minus 7 plus 2 equals blank. And we're going to write the same thing again. 13 minus 7 plus 2 equals blank. And we're going to insert the parentheses. In the first equation, we're going to put the parentheses around the 13 minus 7. And then in the second equation, we're going to put the parentheses around the 7 plus 2. And the rule when we see parentheses in an equation is to always solve inside there first, no matter where they are in the equation. So in the first example, we would solve our 13 minus 7 first. I'm just going to underline that so I know I solved that first. And 13 minus 7, we subtract and we get, good, 6. So we'll put a 6 here, and then we add 6 plus 2 more, and we get a total of 8. Good. So let's move into the next equation. This time the parentheses are around a different set of numbers. So we're going to look for those parentheses. I'm going to underline what's in there because I'm going to solve in there first. So we're going to add first the 7 plus 2, which is, good, 9. And 13 minus 9 is 4. All right, excellent. So now we're going to go back and we're going to, give me a minute here to get this. Where'd that go? Okay, so we're going to go back here and we're going to move into our math message next. All right, so here we go. So we have a problem here. So you can take a minute and you can read that. If you're working on the computer, you can press the little speaker here and it will read it to you. So you're going to go through, you're going to read this problem, and then you're going to do what it says here. And it's asking you to insert the parentheses to show these problems. So I'm just going to put parentheses around here so you remember what they are. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to solve your math message. Remember, you can pause the screen at any time to work the problem out. You can do this in your notebook, or you can work right on the computer screen if you are on the computer. All right. So once you've finished your math message, then you're going to come up here to screen 2. And now we're going to solve this one. Again, remember, you can click the speaker to read it to you if you're on the computer, or you can read it. You have this workspace here you can work, or if you have your notebook next to you, you can be working in your notebook. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to read this problem and you're going to draw a picture out to show what's happening. And remember, you can pause at any time. Once you've completed that, then you're going to move on to screen 3. And you're going to answer that question. And here, this little link over here brings you back to the first screen if you need to reference it to help you solve this problem. Just slide this down. Okay, so once you're done with that, you're going to come back up here to this little arrow. You're going to come back and then we're going to take a look at what our lesson is today. So today we're going to be working on the order of operations. So we're going to click in number 3. And we've already learned the first rule in order of operations. In mathematics, there's certain rules that you must follow when you're solving problems. And the first rule when you're solving equations is to always look for those parentheses. And when you see parentheses in an equation, you must always solve inside there first. Okay, I'm going to come back out here for a minute. And we're going to come down to number 4. Okay, so this is a really important screen because this is going to show you the rules that you're going to need to follow when you're solving these equations. So let's just review these rules right here. So when you're solving equations that have parentheses and multiplication and division and addition and subtraction, you have to do it in a certain order so that you get the correct answer. And these are the rules right here. So the first rule here says, to do the operations inside the parentheses first. We already know that. So anytime you see parentheses in an equation, you always solve whatever is inside there first, no matter where it is in the equation. Once that's done, then you move on to number 2. So once your parentheses are done, then you move on to multiplication and division. So if there's multiplication or division in your equation, you are to solve your multiplication or your division, but you have to go in order from left to right. And lastly, you will solve your addition or subtraction. And again, you're going to work in order from left to right. And we're going to try a practice problem together. So I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go here. And if you come up here to the top corner, we're going to advance to screen 2. So you can click the arrow and it'll move us right over. Okay, so let's clear this off here. I'm just going to clear this writing. Okay, so when we look at the first equation here, we see 11 minus 3 times 3. I'm going to click this link over here because this is going to bring back that screen we just talked about, showing you the order of the operations. So when we look at number 1 here, I'm going to pull my pencil up here. I see 2 different operations. I see subtraction and I see multiplication. So I have to go reference my rules of order of operations to figure out, well, which one do I solve first? Do I do the subtraction first or do I do the multiplication first? So I take a look at my rules. Number 1 says to do the operations inside the parentheses. There's no parentheses. So now I can move on to number 2. It says to multiply or divide in order from left to right. Ooh, I see multiplication right here. So that means I have to solve that first. I'm going to change this color to show you. And let me clear this off here. Clear this. That clears my writing. And you can see here that in this equation, there is multiplication. So I have to solve that part of the equation first. So 3 times 3, one of our multiplication squares, good, is 9. So I'm going to put a 9 right here. So my multiplication is done. There's no division. So then I finally move on to my last step, which says to add or subtract. And I see subtraction right here. So now I'm going to subtract 11 minus 9, and I'm going to put my answer in here. And we know 11 minus 9 is, let's move this out of the way. You come over here. Where'd it go? Let me click in here again. There it is, 2. And I can close that out. I have to solve this one first before I can check my work down here. So I'm going to let you go ahead and I want you to solve this, but I want you to look really carefully at the rule of orders of operations. First, look and identify what operations you have in this problem. We see division and we see addition. So I want you to look at this chart here and I want you to follow these rules. Okay, and then you're going to put your answer in and then you're going to check it. Once you're done with that, then you are going to move on to screen 3. And there's more practice here. You can click this link and it pulls up those rules again that you can use to check to make sure you're following in this order. Fill in your answers and then check. And then you can move on to screen 4. And you are going to answer this one as well. When you're finished with that, then you're going to come back out to your main screen. And then you have Beat the Calculator. You can use that to practice your facts. Your math boxes are here, which you can complete. I'm going to click in here for a minute and show you this. And your math boxes you can complete here. If you are working in your notebook, you can just solve this right in your notebook. And then you just advance to each question here for your math boxes. Okay, boys and girls, if you have any questions about this assignment or this lesson, please make sure you send me a message on Dojo. Remember, you can pause this video at any time, slow down, pause it, take your time, and then play it. You can rewind it as many times as you need to. Make sure your notebook is next to you. You can work the problems out. If you're working directly on the computer, you can type your answers in. And again, if you have any questions, please make sure you have a good day.